Welcome to episode 5 of Play Some D with Coach D. That would be me, 5th installment. And I have some somewhat interesting stuff, I suppose, to talk about for episode 5. For anyone new, please like video, please subscribe if you enjoy what you see or want to come back and check it out. Turn on those post notifications. But as far as Play Some D goes, it is a weekly episode, show, podcast. Technically, I guess you could say it's not a podcast. That word's just thrown around, I guess you can say. Just call it a show, episode sorts, weekly, where I just hop on and provide a random variety assortment of 4 topics I place in 4 different quarters in somewhat of a basketball football format, but yeah, each topic represents a quarter, so that's the gist of it. But 4 topics could possibly go in overtime, but 4 topics. Today, I wanted to definitely touch on Women's History Month, National Women's History Month. So that's on the agenda, as well as cancel culture, Coming to America 2, and NBA All-Star 2001, which was, upon this recording, just finished up a little bit ago. That being said, I am not going to waste any time into tipping this baby off to get this joint going. Last podcast or last episode 4, I finished a month with Black History Month, which was really the end of February, really the beginning of March, quote unquote. This time for the 4th quarter, for the tip off, for the first quarter for tip off, we're gonna go with National Women's History Month. I wanted to start off this month. I just wanted to just smack it in the face right off the rip. Let me get it up here. Yeah. National Women's History Month. It started but Congress declared it as a official in 1987, which isn't that long. To be honest, I actually thought it would have been going on longer. Not surprising, but I did think it would have been. I would have thought 70s maybe, 60s not so much, but late 70s. 87 is, man, that is not too far away. But I did want to just make I just wanted to touch on it. Honestly, I just wanted to touch on it. I just wanted to announce it and give it its due diligence. I think it is deserved. I think it is something that should be talked about. I think women are so important in everything. I mean, literally everything. They're the reason we're all here. So I think it should be talked about. Hopefully people bring light to it and people can educate themselves and bring some, not necessarily awareness, but just that recognition, I think, is deserved. I think kind of sitting at the top of the list, just United States wise, is, Kamala Harris, first woman VP. That's pretty big. I mean, it's a lot of women's first. I won't touch on them all today, but that one kind of jumps off the bat, at least for me personally, as well as some women in sports. Obviously, this podcast show was themed around sports, so like the Serena Williams of the world, the women's referees really get me. I think that is so awesome, especially in the male sports. I think Becky Hammon, women's coach in NBA basketball, those some things that kind of just resonates with me. I even there's even like a woman that plays college D1 football. I should have that name, but that just see those things kind of stick out for me. There's obviously more, but those big names in sports stick out for me as far as, you know, things that I think about where I like seeing women breaking those barriers. Obviously, women have done a lot more things and of that nature, but that's kind of just up front for me. I just kind of scoured a little bit, looked around a little bit, and just kind of came across a list where this is just like a short list of people, experts that the most influential women in history, both famous or lesser known. This is an article I just ran across, and I thought I would just run through some of it because I just thought it was really cool. The number one person here is Marie Curie, 1867 to 1934. It says here, you know, changed the world not once but twice. She founded the new science of radioactivity. Even the word was invented by her, and her discovery launched effective cures for cancer. So that's, man, I just let that sit. That sit in itself. That's just somebody to, you know, to talk about in itself. Rosa Parks, I spoke on last episode. She's number 2, sitting here on this list. Number 3 is Emmeline Pankhurst, the social reformer, 1903. Woman founded the Social and Political Union to campaign for parliamentary vote for women in Edwardin, Britain. Charismatic leader and powerful orator. You know, like people like this. Ada Lovelace, number 4, gifted mathematician. She's considered to be the first computer programmer. That's actually, I studied computer science, and I remember that being mentioned early on in some of my studies, and I was like, yeah, that's, you know, that's pretty cool. Back then when I was that young, it was just like, yeah, cool. I mean, it wasn't something that's kind of like sticks out now where you know, the history is shown that women had to battle, you know, they've battled. So for her to, you know, Rosalind Franklin, when the double helix structure DNA was discovered, scientists claimed that they had unraveled the secret of life itself. Crucial piece of evidence was from her crystallographer. So, I mean, that's crazy. Margaret Thatcher, number 6. Angela Bertie Coates, Mary Wollstonecraft. Some awesome names on here. Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale was, I don't know if it came up in movies or what, but I swear this name just it's just a cool name, obviously off the jump, but it just came from it was said so much. So I remember researching it as a kid, but really never finding nothing that, you know, touched for me. But she led the first official team of British military nurses to Turkey during the Crimean War. Fought between the Britons and Russians. Crimean. I'm probably saying that wrong, but yeah. Marie Stopes, Eleanor of Aquitaine, Virgin Mary, Jane Austen, Boudica. This is interesting because they don't even know if it was in either 60 or 61 AD. She united different tribes in the revolt against the Roman rule. So she was one of the queens of her tribe, and it was a movie that recently came out. This wouldn't be her success led Roman Emperor Nero to consider withdrawing from Britain entirely to the Roman government. Yeah, so the movie was it Barbarians? There's a movie out. It's not based on this, but similar aspects of it. But this is a queen, this is a woman that led a you know, that fight back, and that's huge. Princess Diana, that's, you know, most people might put her higher. And if she was still here today, I'm sure people would, I'm sure she would have made worlds of an impact. Emily Earhart went to break the women's altitude record flying. Queen Victoria, Josephine Butler, Mary Seacole, Mother Teresa, Mary Shelley, Catherine the Great, Vera Atkins, Cleopatra. I kind of wanted to get down to Cleopatra. This is number 24 on this particular list. And growing up, historically, this got to be one of the most well-known woman names in the, live on in infamy forever. Just a cool name. And when you learn about the pharaoh, the ruler of the Egyptian dynasty, it's just interesting. Just interesting all the paths she crossed, and man, yeah. So it's just interesting when you could dive down. So it's like, women's history is male and female, men and women on a planet. So obviously to take the whole side, half of the population essentially for centuries and try to compress it is obviously difficult. But I think it's a good time to, I think it's a good time to just to touch on it. I think it's awesome to, I think we do have a lot of awareness in things, but I think it is necessary, because awareness is exactly what it is. Awareness for someone to take a look into it if they didn't want to. So say this year, maybe you heard about National Women's History Month, but you're just busy and you can't dive into it. But next year, 2022, you'll be like, okay, when it comes around next year, like, man, last year I was really into that. Or even, you get some time in the summer or winter and you're like, man, I want to look up, cool, fun facts about women and women leaders and even just how we can, build on that and make more. So I think it's awesome. And just some of these names that I read through, I didn't know, probably 3/4 of them. But just reading a little quick snippet about them, and you kind of get intrigued. And it's, it just, like I said, it just creates that awareness. Whether you want to delve into it, that's really up to you. But this is one of those good things, one of those good months, or good national fill in the blank months. I think they're all good, but obviously this one here, for me, like I said, it strikes a nerve because I know we all know what women went through, and they deserve their due diligence. Obviously, as I mentioned to start the episode, is that start this quarter that 40s whatever 7th or whatever VP we're on. It took that many to get a woman in there instead of having a woman president. So that, at least in the United States, like I said, that's a pretty big deal. It's been a long time. You just get it now in 2021. It says a lot. So that I want to touch on this, talk about it. And just spit some little recognition. Good word to use, recognition. But yeah, so National Women's Month. Just take a second for that. It's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna head over into the second quarter right here. And I'm just gonna jump in straight into cancel culture. And I got that spell right. I think I do. And and it's just interesting because it's been talked about a lot, and honestly, I haven't really ever paid it any attention, and I'm still not, but I wanted to talk about it because it's just become a topic of just discussion. And I guess obviously the Dr. Seuss nonsense and Mr. Potato Head was like one of the latest ones I just ran across. And I just kind of want to come out and say that I just think it's all trolling. I always thought it was trolling from the beginning. I mean, obviously there's some stuff that if personally you want to cancel and say, oh, I don't align with those ideas of that when it happened. So maybe I don't want to watch that show or listen to that artist or do that. That's personal opinion. If you want to, as I just said before, bring awareness to that for someone and say, hey, look, this is what this movie said, or this is what this person said, or this is what this character represented. You have the total right to go and do that. And, blurt it out from the highest mountains. But then it just takes individuals to decide whether or not, how far do you want to take that? There is a fine line to walk when you decide that something that happened 50 years ago, or a Disney movie that came out, I think that's probably when I remembered it kind of really gained some steam, was maybe Dumbo or something like that. I mean, I'm sure it was before that, but I think they were talking about one of the Disney classics from the 50s or 60s where it was just, awful stuff in there. And that was a time. Once again, it doesn't make it right, but that doesn't mean that somebody can't go back and watch it and enjoy it. Yeah, if you're showing this to your kids, you say, son, daughter, or whatever, if you believe that or whatever you want to do, you say that's wrong or that's not right to say nowadays. You can all alter all that stuff. But still, the idea of the entertainment, to watch it, I think we just have to figure out a way to decipher all of that. I just don't think just getting rid of stuff, and just having a vanilla world is the way to go. Absolutely don't think it's the way to go. It'll just, that's just boring. It's silly, and where our brains work way better than that. So I think I saw too, like, somebody on TikTok, but that's why I say it's a troll, because somebody on TikTok I didn't even watch it, trying to cancel Eminem or whatnot. And then I don't even know if it's true. I guess he wrote a song back to it. So it's all interesting and kind of cool, but I just feel like it's a troll. I figure it's just like everything else in our social media world. If you do whatever you need to do to kind of get clicks, and that's getting clicks now. As well as politically, the Republican side are kind of leaning into it. They're just taking and kind of run with it. They found an issue that they can kind of massage into the people that are rooting for them and say, hey, look what they're doing to us. They're killing us on this. So let's fight back. So that also gives ammunition. And I think the other side's like, hey, we're just going to keep poking at them because maybe they feel like, oh, they're so stupid, or they're going to keep buying into it. We'll just keep poking at it. And that's where you kind of get nowhere. This stuff really, really shouldn't be talked about I don't think it should be talked about on a national scale. Like I said, it should be something that somebody writes an article, somebody makes a YouTube video, or a popular person mentions it somewhere. As individuals, you kind of go and look at it and say, hey, this is, oh yeah, they might be right about that, or maybe they might be overreacting to that. I think that's kind of, I don't know, that's my feelings on how you should look at it. Obviously, everybody has their opinion. Overall, with big things, like if you wanted to cancel, say, R. Kelly, or the one Hollywood producer guy, or somebody that does like really bad stuff, that makes total sense. Like if you thought your idol was just simply amazing, and then you kind of find out like he was this, or he or she was just this creep. I mean, that's kind of where you go into canceling somebody. Like, yeah, I'm not, I'm never watching their movies again. It's like, if you want to go that far, that's once again, it still roots back to personally. Because if I never even personally, if I never listened to R. Kelly or Weinstein, if I never watched movies or supported his stuff anyway, obviously I'm aware of the situation, but it still doesn't affect me, and I don't need to waste my energy on it. I don't know. That's kind of my take on it. But I understand that if it's an individual that's done something that sits wrong with you, you have the total right to, if you feel like that doesn't align with your beliefs, that's with anything in life. Like, you cancel it. Like, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want that. Like, if you realize like, oh, this food membership or this subscription doesn't work for me anymore, I don't need it. It doesn't help me. It doesn't, you can cancel it. Obviously, it's a little different because you may still support it or want to watch or whatever it may be, but it's the same concept. Is that I don't want to be bothered with this anymore. At one point I did, so now I'm out. I don't have to dwell on it. I don't gotta cry about it. And you really don't have to get somebody else on board with it. Just do what you need to do, say your piece, and ride out. But like I said, in the world we live in today, with talking points and people want to be heard and scream stuff from the highest mountaintop and with a big microphone and get likes and shares and all that good stuff. Once again, I do understand all that. So, but when once you get to Dr. Seuss, and I think I saw with Pepe Le Pew and Speedy Gonzalez, it's just like that all doesn't even feel real to me. Like, that doesn't even feel like you can't be serious that you're talking about this stuff. Like, cartoons now, again, the cartoons and toys. Man, yeah, it's something else. It's a time, interesting time. I guess in the conversation stage of it, the intellectual part of it, obviously to talk about it, have a discussion about it. Yeah, I guess you could say it's that cool. Would it be kind of boring as well if somebody just said, "Hey, let's cancel Mr. Potato Head," and you just say, "Oh no, I'm not gonna cancel Mr. Potato Head." I mean, like, why? If I don't want to, and you just walk away. Like, there's no discussion. It's just like everybody kind of stays away and doesn't want to have the dialogue, because dialogue is necessary. And something as stupid as this, it is, because it carries weight into other important conversations. So if you can't have one about something silly and get to an understanding how you're gonna do it with something that's important, in my opinion, that could be obviously wrong, but I just think you should be able to have dialogue about certain things and know when I state my case, and go from there. And that, like I said, that leads into other conversations, other dialogue that is absolutely necessary to have to move forward. So that's cancel culture in a nutshell for me. Like I said, I think it's all a big troll right now. Will it continue to gain steam? I believe absolutely it will, because there is many people feeling the fire to it. And every time you see cancel culture, it is like cancel so and so, cancel so and so. When that's said, it's a big deal, or it's at least talked about in a sense. So, yeah, that's quarter number 2. So for halftime today, once again, I have nothing. I don't think I ever expect to have something. I won't be getting up and doing any kind of twirls, twists, or anything of that nature. Music wise, I guess I could. Only thing that could ever really happen is, which would be extremely awesome, if that got like a sponsor spot. Halftime could get a sponsor spot. That's just me dreaming. That's just Dee. Just, you know how your mind goes sometimes. Just gets going. But third quarter, I'm gonna jump into Coming to America, Coming number 2, the number 2 America, which is the sequel to the 1988 American comedy film Coming to America with Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall. And I wasn't really sure if I was even going to go or bring it up and talk about it, but the only reason I think I am is because of like the back and forth with it. So it's like Rotten Tomatoes has it at 52, Metacritic 52, IMDb at 5.5. And then I want to say, let me just see. So if I just go Coming to America, Coming to America, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 71%. That's all I really wanted to see, and IMDb gave it a 7. So my original take after I watched it was, if you liked the first one, I don't see how you couldn't like the second one. Second one even kind of capitalizes a little bit on the first one. The first one, kind of just reverting back to a little bit of cancel culture. That might be the reason why people don't want to see or want to ever see a Coming to America Part 2, because Part 1 was pretty misogynistic, or very, I don't know, however you look at that, but obviously it just degraded women in multiple factions, obviously in the comedy way. I don't know how blatant or evil Eddie and Arsenio and people that made that movie were about it, but it was. And it also had 1988 stuff in it, so that's a 30 years ago, 32, 30. Am I adding right? 30. Yes, it's a long. So that's a while. So that's a while ago. I mean, that's the same time National Women's History Month. Like what? Like, okay, so no real spoilers. I mean, okay, maybe little spoilers, but as far as the acting went, Eddie was kind of just in his space. He did the alternate characters, I thought, a lot better than he did Prince King Akeem. I think he did the other characters way better than he did his main character, and I think that falls the same way into the first one. So let me back up a little bit. I may also have a different point of view about this movie as well, because I watched the first one directly into the second one. I hadn't seen the first one in, I don't know, over 10 years easily. So I wanted to watch it with fresh eyes and then just watch it right into part 2, because it's just been so long ago. And just on my end, for the culture, for the movie, for the Black culture is it's a little bit of a staple. It's important. So, or Eddie and no, I think it is. So that's another reason why I want to speak about it. So watching them right into each other, obviously the stuff that really happens almost kind of happens in the same exact manner. The ending you get is what you wanted, just like in the first one. Women get to really step on the neck of Coming to America, of the movie. Like, so that's who takes hold, who has control of the film pretty much throughout, with Akeem's heir, Lavelle. He comes in and finds a woman, and she wants to be empowered to do other things, and then Prince Akeem, or King Akeem, have daughters and no sons. And before James Earl, King Joffrey, passes, he reiterates what it means to have a son take over, and women can't do it. So all of that stuff, I think it rides real well. And then that's the storyline. Then the comedy aspect of it, there was forced parts. Obviously, it was forced parts. I thought it was forced parts in the first one. Some people argue that with me because they say it was the time and things of that nature. But to me, it was a lot of forced parts in the first one. And same here. They pushed the envelope on some stuff, and I thought the comedy was good. I thought Wesley Snipes stole the show. I thought Tracy Morgan was really good. I mean, he had spots, and every spot he nailed really good. Arsenio wasn't. I didn't think he was. He's never really a good actor, but I didn't think he was good in the first one. And I don't think Simi, the character he plays Simi in here, was really any good either. But overall, it all meshed how it came together, and the character they put in it, except Lavelle. So that was one of the things that also made me want to talk about this. I just thought that character, I don't know who else they could have cast or wanted to cast, but I just didn't think he did a very good job. There were moments where I think he played the character well, but he didn't act, like, as far as like dialogue, and there was parts, but most for the most part was no good. And then the character that plays his mom, Leslie Jones, I think was just a smart cat. She's just funny. She's over the top, and she gave the movie its little edge from that side character, from some of the seriousness that it goes down. You get a character that kind of pushes the edginess. And then Shari, who plays Lisa, was good. And I just think it's an enjoyable movie to watch for the family, to just sit around and hang out and watch it and laugh a little bit. I just don't see how it really could get that much grief. And it's probably not that much. And I think people also just don't feel comfortable actually saying, oh, it was good, or the expectations is I think it's going to be good, and then it's just not as good. Because I know that happens a lot for me, where my expectations are low and the movie is a little bit better, or if my expectations are high and it doesn't reach that, then I kind of get down on the movie. I do think that's just kind of natural for us. Oh, I didn't put it up. I'm bugging out. I want to talk about it so bad. But this was, I mean, it was one of the interesting, when I watched it, you know, I felt like that this is cool. This is cool for what, you know, a lot of Black movies, you don't get the fun comedy, and it feels like it's always serious. So to get some laughs and get it from a guy like Eddie and Wesley, with James Earl Samuels in it, big, you know, important people, like I said, especially in a culture. So I think the movie's well deserving of praise. I hope it gets it in due time, because this is also one of the movies that just like the first one, I think this one could, you know, is probably going to be timeless, if, you know, depending how depending if you're stacking it up against part one or other movies. It in itself, like I said, as the story goes and what it's telling, I think it's right there. I mean, I don't know what else you would ask for. Maybe less silliness. Maybe you didn't like some of the jokes, maybe, but overall, the concept, the plot, storyline, the winners, the losers. Really, there's no losers. It just turns out well. So, yeah, that's part 2 of Coming to America, and that came out this past weekend. I recommend everybody watch it if you're interested. Like Eddie, you like Wesley, you like Arsenio, Tracy, any of those cats. Give it a watch. Hopefully, I didn't spoil too many things, and yeah, give it a watch. So headed over into fourth quarter. Let me get it up on the board. That was my first time in 5 episodes. I mean, it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. And it was the first, but it won't be the last. I'll tell you that. Quarter 4, back it in just like I did last week with basketball. Last week was March Madness. This week is NBA All-Star 2021. And it's not just about the game or the festivities, but just the concept of it in general. Originally, I just didn't think it was going to happen. I mean, honestly, I could do this fourth quarter and just say it shouldn't have happened and just say, see y'all. That's probably what I should do. But I'm going to do a quick overview of my thoughts of it all. It really should have just been, you announce the All-Stars and you give them a rest. Some of the guys, well, I guess really particularly just LeBron. I don't think there weren't any Heat players there. But Denver and Jokic was there. Who else? Who would have been that on the East? Was that Boston? Tatum and Jaylen Brown was there. You know, those guys that just had that quick turnaround. Give the guys a week off. Let everybody get back straight from COVID. Instead of putting them into a COVID nightmare, which Atlanta was. They were on. Adam Silver was on Inside and said they had it in Atlanta because Turner studios are there. Makes sense, but Atlanta's the place that they're basically been open for. They've been open. They really never closed. So you just put the players in a COVID hotspot, and you lost Embiid and Simmons, I think this morning for the game for contact tracing. So that would suck if the best players in the world, and actually Kenny Smith mentioned that, if the best players in the world get sick, the best players in the world get COVID and then they have to sit out for a week or something like that, that would be awful for All-Star. But that's that. And then just the crowds that comes along with All-Star. It's not only I get it if they were going to pack the arenas. If you're going to do it, I think just go and do it. Just sell out and do it all. Go do all your events. Put some fans in the seats so at least they get to enjoy it. But really, it was just I think he said 2,500 people got to watch. I mean, that's not really a lot. You don't really do it for the fans. For us people at home, I mean, we're about to watch March Madness for the basketball fans. We're going to watch March Madness, and then we're going to watch, just a couple more weeks. Well, 30-something odd games of basketball, and then we got the playoffs. So, All-Star, they scored 320 points. 319 was the over-under, by the way. I had the under, so that tells you how my day is going. But anyway, they scored 320 points. It's like, that's not basketball. It's really just shooting around. It really wasn't even no real cool dunks in the in the game, really, or the dunk contest. But let me not get too far ahead. Let me just run it up until the day. Obviously, I said the people. If you did it for the people, you wouldn't have never went, because you just brought people there, and majority black folks, and they're gonna black people. I said that, whatever. But yeah, and like I said, it's a COVID breeding ground, and at the time we're right at the cusp of actually possibly doing something, getting this thing out the way, getting COVID really brushed down. I mean, will it make it worse? Probably not, but let's just keep the deterrence up. Let's keep people away from each other as much as possible, and let's not. But anyway, that's how I felt on that end of it, just from humanity aspect of it. And then parties, you obviously know they're gonna happen. A bunch of videos came out between the malls, and I said going out, and just various activities going down in Atlanta. And that's just not what we want. We get I wouldn't watch it unless somebody paid me like really good money to, like a hip hop pickup or something or another that made its rounds on social media. Like, for what? Like, why did that even happen? That's silly, goofy, but that happened. And then today you cram everything into one evening that just, I don't know, man, just puts a little bit of a hamper on the product. I'm an NBA. I'm not a casual fan. I'm a basketball connoisseur. I love basketball. I love competition. And I was going to watch, regardless, I was going to watch it. But it just seems, it was definitely a little bit rushed, especially the dunk contest. But Sabonis won the skills competition, which is really never exciting. It's just skill competition just really isn't any good. 3-point contest was cool, but I just feel like they need to add some more, like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel as competitive, even though it came down to the last shot. I just feel like, I don't know. And then the game came on, and, up and down dunk, and LeBron didn't play very much. And then halftime was a dunk contest where there's not dunks left to do. There's just not dunks left to do. So they're trying to figure out a way to keep the dunk contest alive. And every so many years, we get a really good performance. And to get a good performance, you really want it to be at least two guys that give you some really solid dunks to compete against each other. But that rarely happens as well. Anthony Simons won it. I thought he was going to win it, especially after I seen him jump. I had seen him jump a few times in the league. I just didn't know he had the extra spring. But once I saw that, I figured he had some creative stuff. I mean, he's been in the league a while, and I'm sure they in practice they do all kind of crazy stuff. Cassius Stanley probably would have won a dunk contest. I think if he was just a little more comfortable. I don't think he probably didn't feel comfortable there. He hasn't even dunked in an NBA game. He hasn't played in many NBA games. He's really in the G League, so I think that was a little bit tough on him as well. And I think his first dunk was good. It was through the legs. It looked easy, but we don't see so many through the legs that it definitely shouldn't have got as low a score as it got, but it didn't deserve 10s. And I think that demoralized him. And I think he was like, I'm checking out. These guys don't even know who I am. I'm done. So that was a dunk contest, and the game ended. It was a blowout. I mean, LeBron's team, he picked the better team from the beginning, but Team Durant did lose Embiid, which was big. He might have helped, but it was a blowout. I think the spread was like the 7.5 or 9.5. I don't remember, but it was covered. And Giannis won the MVP, but outside of that, and getting guys, Chris Paul past Magic Johnson, and getting guys' numbers up in the game, which I don't think they cared about. I'm sure they all would have rather, chilling for a week, but it's out the way. They really only had to manage through a day, honestly. So that is, obviously there's good with the bad. And if it works out, if it plays out where nothing, no problems was caused, no harm, no foul, whatever. But I think the risk is just higher than the reward at the end of the day. They played it last year when they, once again, they were right on the cusp. Well, maybe it was the beginning of February, so they weren't. But yeah, they were right there where they really got lucky and played it last year. So don't, try to, play Russian roulette. It's not really Russian roulette, but I was looking for another word that I couldn't find. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, NBA All-Star was, it was, it happened, went down. I watched it. Will I remember it? No. I watched it. And I lost 319. Steph Curry missed a 3 that would have won me the bet. And then James Harden hit the 3. And then Damian Lillard hit the 3. But once Harden hit the 3, it didn't really matter anymore because my bet was lost. So yeah. Game over. GG's. Yeah, so GG's, that's fourth quarter. I'm out of this baby. Once again, episode 5. Let's just play some Dee, my variety joint. I enjoy it. Sit down and just talk about some stuff that I probably think through in my head more often than not. There's more topics, but I try to touch on some stuff that just, at least I think, might seem to be a little bit interesting that some people are thinking or talking about or things of that nature. So if you enjoyed, please like the video. Please subscribe and turn on post notifications. And until the next one, I appreciate it. Be safe. Wear your mask. Once again, I said last week, right there. Just right there. Right there. Right there. Be safe. To the next one. Holla.